Alright folks, here it is. This is our subcast called Casting Dread, the Penny Dreadful Show. The first episode of the second season was entitled Fresh Hell. It was directed by James Hawes and written by the man himself, John Logan. It's out on YouTube. There is no reason why I should read it in my very sexy voice unless you would want me to, and if so, go ahead and do the inbox, and we will revert back to the panty-dropping tones of my voice. In any case, I was enthralled with the episode. There were some predictions that seemed to have come true, and if you've listened to the previous episode, you know to what I'm referring. The new antagonists showed up with a vengeance. Evelyn Poole / Madame Kali is a more than proper antagonist for Vanessa, Sir Malcolm, and the rest. I'm glad to see that Ethan is growing as a character. I'm glad to see that the aftershocks of Mina's death still resonate with Sir Malcolm. And I'm also was really happy to see what happened with his family. Sir Malcolm can close the book on his old family and proceed with the new one. There are a lot of interesting twists. I love what they're doing with Caliban. Dorian Gray is absent, and I'm not sure what his role is. That is really my one criticism. I'm not sure what he is besides eye candy. And understandably, there has to be some eye candy for the show, but it's already been there. I don't know what he's doing, and I don't know what his purpose is. Yes, he's a tortured soul, yes, he lives forever, and yes, he probably has some connection to Lucifer / Dracula / Amon-Ra, but it seems like a bit of a wasted character. I'm not sure where it can go. There's already immortality being discussed on multiple levels. I'm sure Logan has a plan, but as of this moment, I just don't see it. I think it's a bit of a waste. Sembeni is given more to do, and that is slowly unfurling, and it's actually done well. I had my problems with it in season 1, but it actually gives the show a lot more depth in releasing his story slowly and methodically, rather than quickly. It's still about Vanessa, and it should be. The way that the antagonists come out, the way they're revealed, the violence, the extent they go after Vanessa immediately, and it's going to be a problem all season long. There's a very powerful sequence of prayer versus ritual, which happens near the end of the episode. There's also something very strange, and I don't know how to feel about it. As you've guessed previously, Victor Frankenstein was in the act of making a, quote, bride of Frankenstein, even though that's not the correct term. A, quote, bride of Frankenstein from the corpse of Brona Croft. And as such, he is fulfilling Caliban's expectation. It took a turn into really strange territory when the body was lying underwater and he began to touch her breasts. It shows a little bit of necrophilia, and at first impulse were thought it to be a bit gross. But think about Victor Frankenstein for a moment. What has he gone through in this whole wonderful, beautiful mess that is Penny Dreadful? He lost Proteus. He had him for a day, and then lost him. He had Professor Van Helsing for just a little bit more time than that, and he lost him. Now he's got Caliban. It seems as if Victor Frankenstein's success is in death. He lost his mother when he was a child. He lost his dog when he was a child. In death is where Victor Frankenstein's knowledge truly lies. And if his knowledge truly lies there, and his obsession truly lies there, on some level it makes quite a bit of sense that he would be attracted to a corpse. I don't know how to feel about it because it is quite creepy. In fact, one of the creepiest scenes that I've ever seen, but that was its purpose. But I don't know how to say this, but there's something kind of pitiful and sweet underneath that surface. It's like a very sad play. And Brona, spoiler alert, you should be... Look, if you haven't watched the episode, do it right now. Pause this podcast and go watch the freaking episode. You have no excuse. So I'm going to spoil you right now. Brona was resurrected. That is the last part of the episode. And it seems there's going to be a bit of a love triangle going on. But also Caliban has a little bit of an out. If you've noticed the blind girl in Caliban's new position, that was actually very sweet and tender. I'm glad to see that they're making kindness and friendship a big deal on this show despite all the sex and the violence. It's going to be a very interesting romantic twist, and it's not going to be your usual love story. It's not the garbage of Twilight or romance novels. This is very serious business about damaged people. Another thing I liked about the show was I thought the pace was excellent, and it's hard to get pacing right, especially when going from one season to another. It was cut so well. It was so fresh in its interpretations. It brought the real threat of these women. It is a real girl power show, from the characters of Vanessa to the witches themselves, and these are nasty, nasty witches. There's a show about witches called Salem. Comes on WGN. It's okay. I would consider it above average watch. My wife really likes it. But these witches make those girls and guys look like toys. These are very violent, meaningful opponents. And I'm glad that they upped their game. But I do have some worries about that. As we've discussed on the last episode, the big bad, the great evil of this show is Dracula / the devil / Amon-Ra, the same entity, and we presented evidence to such previously. Once you play that card, once you play the Dracula card, you can't go back. Otherwise, it's going to weaken the show. The reason why Penny Dreadful is so good is because it's building. The reason why shows like Hannibal and Breaking Bad and Sherlock are so successful is because they keep upping their game. Sherlock, quote, got rid of Moriarty only to probably bring him back. Breaking Bad, the antagonists only got bigger. I'm going to give you an example of a show that brought in the big antagonist way too early and it lost it. And that show, folks, is Supernatural. And yes, it still has high ratings, but the storytelling, once they brought Satan out, once they played that card, what else can you face that's bigger than the devil? And there's a parallel there to Penny Dreadful. Dracula and the devil are the same. And once you pull that card, you're not going to go back. And when they pull that card, they have to end the show after Dracula is dispatched. Or he could win, more interestingly enough. And in fact, it would be a very interesting interpretation if Dracula does win, because he's been killed 500 different ways, and really, how can you beat the devil? Because Dracula at his core is the most diabolical, vile, and evil character in the history of literature. He is immortal. He commands the storms. He has all kinds of beautiful hoes, although he himself is a very big hoe. And he's a raping, murdering criminal. But he's brilliant, and he has all these powers. So once you pull that card, once Penny Dreadful reveals Dracula, and once that story is played out, there's nothing else they can do. You can't bring in the Phantom of the Opera, or the Invisible Man, or the Creature from the Black Lagoon, or Carmilla, or anything else. You can't do it because it's going to be weak. Even Ethan Chandler, as strong as the performance is, you're not going to be able to match up to Dracula. And that's my worry for Penny Dreadful. And yes, perhaps I'm overthinking it a bit, but I am concerned about the health of the show in the future. Right now, it's on a roller coaster. It's this massive train that can't be stopped, and its quality, and it's just getting better. But that's something to keep tabs on in the future. Once Dracula is revealed, what are you going to do after that? And hopefully they won't do anything after that. I hope they end the show there. Don't drag it out like stupid shows on the CW. And I don't think they will. Showtime has an excellent record, and I love John Logan and what he's doing. As for Fresh Hell itself, it's been said. It's a fantastic episode. It's the best episode that's been there so far. Its pacing is wonderful. The performances are dynamic. The shots are meaningful. The composition is diverse, complex, and totally intoxicating. If you haven't watched this episode, or even worse yet, you haven't watched Penny Dreadful at all, you don't have a pulse, and I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what I can do besides break you down emotionally, and break you down mentally, and wear down the internet until you fall under Penny Dreadful's wonderful spell.